Can this assembly election transform urban governance in Tamil Nadu?
I really wish whether I can say yes, it would transform, but unfortunately, I cannot.
When it comes to empowering the local bodies, I think it's still a distant dream.
It is important for people to know what a member of parliament is supposed to do,
Citizens' power devolution, would it happen? That's the larger question.
Most of you are aware, Tamil Nadu is the third most urbanized state in the country, and when it comes to mega states, it's the most urbanized state. And yet, there's a lot of scope for reforms when it comes to urban governance in the state. So, taking the context of the assembly elections happening in the state, we've gathered this panel today to understand and discuss how do we get this political discussion on urban governance into the mainstream.
Such a politically active state and active citizenry with a long history of reform and progressive legislation, how come from 2016 till now there hasn't been a hue and cry about not holding elections?
No court has said election should not be done. But unfortunately, the case was in the Supreme Court, so the civil court societies cannot do anything. And the media didn't even worry about it. And end of the day, after all the political reasons, finally they did it in the end of 2019. That too, for the very first time, they split the elections into rural and urban. Because that is the proof to show that the ruling ADMK government didn't want to do the elections. So basically, for their political advantage and political fear, they split the election. They didn't even want to run the elections. And media, as usual, always kept the focus on the noises and not on the issues.
So where the expenditure needs to actually happen, that is not happening. Why is this so? Because they have put special officers instead of these elected representatives. The government, the ruling AIDMK government, I believe, is very happy with these special officers, and that's also one of the reasons why they did not conduct the elections.
DMK's manifesto for the year 2016 assembly election, in that document, the very second point talks about state autonomy. But there is not a single word that talks about local bodies. Taking ADMK, we need not look at their manifesto. We have seen their performance in the last 5 years lively. They were not even ready to conduct elections for the local bodies.
From the time of the death of their former Chief Minister Jayalalitha, ADMK has been in a total mess, and they've in fact pushed the elections till the very last minute. Then the Supreme Court literally directed them to hold elections. But without a doubt, whichever government comes in is bound to hold elections.
What about the civil society groups? I know all of you guys are demanding ward committees, ward sabhas and all that.
This election, we are sure we have made enough noise as civil society groups that we will get ward committees and area sabhas in the urban local bodies for sure. But are they going to be empowered? Are they going to be sufficient? Are they going to have all kind of revolution? That's the next step. But first, we will have the platforms for sure.
We have also asked for Participation Social Audit Act. This is also present in Meghalaya, wherein people can actually participate, audit government projects, right, and government implementations of work. So these kinds of things, if they bring about a framework for that, so that would enable a real transparency in governance in the local bodies, and even for distribution of welfare measures and things like that. This is going to be helping in a larger way. Do
people really understand which responsibility ends where and what not? Often we see MPs' offices flooded with requests about solid waste management. Now, so in that case, what is the role of the councillor in that particular ward? It's taken some time. I don't know the reasons for it, nor am I attributing any, but it's taken us a lot of time for people to understand where these roles and responsibilities lie. Why do you go to the mayor? Why do you go to the ward committee? And when do you go to the MLA or the minister? So it's this, and I hope that once these things clarify and get better, and of course that cannot happen only through government or political parties, the active participations of advocacy and civil society organizations strengthens this resolve and effort to, and really I think that is the essence of participatory governance. And I hope that we can in spirit lead the way in that as well.
Satta Panchayat Ekam was working with Kamal Hassan's Makkal Nidhi Mayam for their manifesto specific to local bodies. So they have released 7 points for urban local bodies and 7 promises for rural local bodies. So with specific to urban local bodies, some of the points that we proposed to them included right to recall, which is already in place in states like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Bihar as well. And one more thing is salary for the local body representatives and implementation of area committees and ward sabhas. That's one key thing which it is in paper, but on ground it is not happening. So slowly it should come to the urban areas as well. And few more things that I expect to happen is the devolution of powers and funds.
We do know the importance of having great allies in the civil and social advocacy space. I completely appreciate and understand what your points you were making about decentralization. I do admit that it is a problem. It is something that I think as a state, as you said, as a progressive state, we have not been able to do enough of. And I certainly do hope that that will change. And municipalities and panchayats and corporations will not just be outposts, or as you called it, executive arms of the state government. I think they need to be more evolved in letter and spirit.
I would like to reaffirm on behalf of Janagraha that we are very keen to encourage, support, participate, embolden anyone, anywhere in India that is working on participatory governance, municipal finances, strengthening of urban systems. We will be there, and the best time to do these things is when a new government comes into play, and we look forward to collaborating with all of you that are part of this in any number of ways, so we can all achieve the local self-taught.
Tamil Nadu has a 5-year mayoral tenure, 50% of reservation for women in municipal elections, timely constitution of state finance commissions, ward committees and area surplus, formal platforms for citizen engagement have been provided by law, public disclosure law for effective disclosure of civic data has been provided by law, 10% of state revenues are shared with urban local bodies. It is one among the very few states that has devolved entertainment tax post the GST Act coming into picture. The cities have powers over budget setting. The mega city like Chennai is doing relatively much better on financial performance with 3-year average per capita capex of 4,088. It has access to municipal cadre, and there is a very interesting situation of a local body ombudsman appointed to conduct inquiry on allegations against city governments. Only 3 states in India actually has such provisions. Now let's take a look at how things can be better. There has not been municipal elections in any of the urban local bodies in the state since 2011. SEC, State Election Commissions, while constituted, are not empowered to do ward delimitation process, which means there is no independent body to undertake such a significant exercise. The state has reversed direct election of mayor. The mayor has limited powers over funds, functions and functionaries. It has devolved only 8 out of the 18 functions under the 12th schedule in practice to urban local bodies. Ward committees, while provided by law, are non-functional, similar in case of area sabhas. It is one of the 2 states, the only 2 states in India to not have Right to Services Act. Open data standards are not adopted by cities. Metropolitan planning committees are not constituted in all metropolitan cities, and we have just seen how critical metropolitan cities are to the economy of Tamil Nadu and even to the national economy as well. In Chennai, Metropolitan Planning Committee has been constituted, but it is defunct. The average staff vacancy in key positions in urban local bodies of Tamil Nadu is roughly about 18.8%. No mandates for a medium-term fiscal plan for urban local bodies, which is very key to ensuring fiscal prudence of urban local bodies. No mandates on audits by external chartered accountants or internal audits. While there is a local body ombudsman in the state, but they are not empowered for service-related issues, which is a problem which has been provided by states like Kerala and Odisha.